Hi, everybody. This is Lee, and I fully expected to be speaking about Sojourner Truth, another Black Girl Magic video. But I had to double back on Barbara Jordan because although her public service ended over 20 years ago, her public service has come to light in a very interesting way. That Barbara Jordan was the chairwoman of the Commission on Immigration Reform, and that she was considered a moral authority on ethics and policy and all things public affairs. And so she was very well respected. And so she was appointed chair of immigration reform. And that commission, underneath her leadership, generated a series of reports that might surprise people because those reports that were generated formed the basis of legislation that called for cutting legal immigration. This is an article at the National Review, which is a right wing conservative publication. This article is from January 18th, 2016. It's by Mark Krikorian, and they're saying that Barbara Jordan, American patriot. And so she was recognized even in this right-wing publication as an African American Democratic female senator or House member from the Houston area. She was recognized, her patriotism, her support for the U.S. Constitution, and the fact that these were evident at her participation in the Watergate hearings to impeach Richard Nixon. And so those reports called for tightening enforcement and cutting legal immigration by limiting family chain migration and eliminating the visa lottery. And so those reports form the basis of legislation that might have passed, except for her premature death, enabled President Bill Clinton at that time to change his mind and weasel out, it says the word weasel in this article, from his earlier pledge of support for the legislation. And so instead, he formed an alliance, and this article says, with the corporate leftist front, led by Republican Senator Spencer Abraham, to kill that bill. And so it says corporate leftist front, but if Spencer Abraham was a Republican senator who led the effort to kill the bill, then it wasn't a leftist front. It was actually a bipartisan corporate front. We give credit where credit is due. And so some people will be surprised in today's day and age with the recent controversy over immigration policy at what Barbara Jordan said. And it's just a reminder that we should remember our history, know our history, learn our history. And so this is one statement. She says that deportation is crucial. Credibility in immigration policy can be summed up in one sentence. Those who should get in, get in. Those who should be kept out are kept out. And those who should not be here will be required to leave. The top priorities for detention and removal, of course, are criminal aliens. But for the system to be credible, people actually have to be deported at the end of the process. And so she goes on to say a little bit more. The Commission finds no national interest in continuing to import lesser skilled and unskilled workers to compete in the most vulnerable parts of our labor force. Many American workers do not have adequate job prospects. We should make their task easier to find employment we should make their tasks easier to find employment, not harder. And so that's her philosophy. There's also a YouTube video of her speaking on this issue in her own words. It's a C-SPAN video from 1995. And she did pass away the next year, 96. And about that same time, there was a surge in outsourcing. There was also the NAFTA, globalism, and things like that. And so, that was her stance. And sometimes circumstances, turn out based on circumstances. I wanted to specifically bring that up because, quite as it's kept, that there have been two points of view on this that I've noticed in my travels on the internet and various forums, where it comes down to jobs. It's an economic issue. And that I also did two ballot access campaigns in 2016. They both passed because I'm good. It was a team effort. And I talked to many people. I did a lot of canvassing, door knocking, and I talked to many people. Talked to many African American men who came to the door in the community, and more than one of them looked both ways like that and then said, "I'm gonna vote for Trump." And that wasn't even a question that I asked them. I was there for the ballot initiative, and so that's a presidential election. But they just volunteered that, and it was jobs. The reason that they told me, it was the jobs, 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 jobs. And so that's what it came down to for them. And so it surprised people that so many African American men, a higher number than anticipated, actually supported Trump's candidacy. But that was the reason why that I was told. And there seems to be a double feeling, several ways of looking at this, and that some people feel that we show compassion to those in need. And then there's the other side of it. Well, my family's in need of me to be able to have a living wage and to bring, a full-time salary to take care of them. And that lately it's hard since 1996, right about the time that Barbara Jordan passed away, and Bill Clinton really sent his globalism agenda into hyperdrive, to the point that there was a pushback, the battle in Seattle, with all the free trade issues that immediately followed his agenda. And so this is Barbara Jordan's point of view. I do bring up Barbara Jordan specifically because she is an African American female. There was a woman who's been seen in a video that's gone viral. She's a Black Trump supporter, to the point where she says, "Thank God for Trump," in this video. The reason being that she's also a tax expert, that she helps people file their taxes. She's a CPA, I believe. And so she says that she recognizes the economic consequence of immigration. I don't know if she specifies illegal or legal, but that there's been an economic consequence for the Black community, in her view, that she's seen on her side of the desk while she's performing this function as a CPA. And a lot of passion in there. And her view is more similar than dissimilar to that of Barbara Jordan. And so this is the dilemma. This is the double view that people have towards this issue. And so I'm going to post the links to this National Review article. I'm going to post a link to Robert Jordan's 1995 C-SPAN video. And then I'm going to post a link to the video of this woman speaking like 22 years later after Barbara Jordan, after we've seen the results of Bill Clinton's decision making and the consequence that some people have viewed as a result of that policy. Okay, good luck.